Hello everyone, it's me again. Sorry I've been gone. I've been out hunting the things that go bump in the night, but today we're going to talk about the Wendigo. I've searched the archives that the Foundation has on offer. The Wendigo, also called Wetiko, spelled W-E-T-I-K-O, or as the Foundation calls them, Algonquin, just a little bit of code for radio chatter. However, it's a legendary man-eating creature, evil spirit from the folklore of the First Nations of Algonquin tribes. Based in the northern forests of Nova Scotia, the east coast of Canada, the Great Lakes region of Canada, the Wendigo is described as a monster with some characteristics of a human, or as a spirit who has been possessed as a human being and made into them to become monstrous. The Wendigo is part of a traditional belief system of a number of Algonquin-speaking peoples, including the Ojibwe, the Saulteaux, the Cree, the Naskapi, and the Innu. Although descriptions can vary somewhat, common to all these cultures is the view that the Wendigo is a malevolent, cannibalistic, supernatural being. Now, a little bit about the legend. This creature has long been known among the Algonquin tribes, such as the Ojibwe, Eastern Cree, Saulteaux, Western Swampy Cree, Naskapi, and Innu peoples, like I previously mentioned. However, I'm going to share some of the other tribes' legends that they hold. We're going to begin with the Algonquin legend. The Algonquin people describe it as a giant with a heart of ice. Sometimes it is thought to be entirely made of ice. Its body is skeletal and deformed with missing lips and toes. The Ojibwe describe it as a large creature tall as a tree with a lipless mouth and jagged teeth. Its breath a strange hiss. Its footprints full of blood. It eats any man, woman, or child who ventured into its territory, and those being the lucky ones. Sometimes the Wendigo choose to possess a person instead, and the luckless individual becomes a Wendigo himself, hunting down those he had once loved and feasting upon their flesh. The general legend, though, speaks of a gigantic spirit over 15 tall that had once been human, but had been transformed into the creature by the use of magic. Those are just some of the general legends that people hold for it, and lore that the creature holds. Now I'm going to tell you how to identify one. Okay, so they are generally described as follows. They have glowing eyes, usually red, long yellow fangs, long sharp claws, overly long tongues, sallow yellowish skin covered with matted hair. They have a gluttonous and voracious appetite for human flesh, and they are emaciated. Like, you could see their ribs, their arm bones. You could just see them. They're very bony looking. Now, the Foundation doesn't know too much of how Wendigo is actually created, considering we do study things of this nature, but we leave that to the scribes. Normally, with this type of creature, we can't necessarily capture them, so the options are either kill it or die. But what we do know of how Wendigo is created, according to the ancient texts and knowledge from the aforementioned tribes, the Foundation has acquired it, and it goes as follows. A Wendigo is created whenever a human resorts to cannibalism to survive. In the past, however, this occurred for more often when natives and settlers found themselves stranded in the bitter snows and ice of the north woods, sometimes stranded for days. The survivors felt compelled to cannibalize the dead in order to survive, much like the Donner Party, if you've ever heard of that. Oddly enough, however, the Foundation has found that Wendigos have somewhat of a society, you could say, not as a normal human society. Like, as with skinwalkers, some of them have been shown to be able to immerse with people, because, I mean, skinwalkers are generally people. They just have the ability to turn into whatever animal they choose to. However, the topic is a little tricky about Wendigo society, because it really depends on what kind of Wendigo you're dealing with. Because Wendigo are both solitary hunters, but they have been shown to travel in small packs of 3 or 4 individual Wendigos. However, this depends largely on age and how long they have been in a tribe they were citizens of. Firstly, speaking on the tribes first, the ones who choose to live in tribes, normally numbered 3 to 4, as I previously said. However, in rare cases, they have been shown to be 12 to 15 strong at the largest, and live in dens, much like wolves, in caves, and the real dark, like mine shaft recesses of the woods and stuff of that nature. However, their societies are more tribal, as like a wolf tribe would be, or something like caveman-esque, as you would imagine. The larger tribes, as said, the Foundation has personally encountered tribes of 12 to 15 at the, out in the wilderness. They're normally led by a much older alpha Wendigo, some of them even predating natural history. Now, the ones that are solitary are normally far older than alphas, and are such far harder to kill and far more dangerous, but the ones that are larger tribes are normally an alpha leading more seasoned Wendigo, and even then, past the seasoned ones, there's normally new Wendigo or recently turned who are being taught the way of the Wendigo, if that makes sense, much like raising a child would be. Now, as you might imagine, much like skinwalkers, they have their own habitats and hunting grounds, like I said before. They roam densely forested areas and typically making their homes in cave systems, sometimes mine shafts that have been abandoned. In that area, they hunt in said forests, typically cold climates based on research of Native American legend. Wendigo manifestations is affected by 4 main variables, being distance from Native American reservations, percentage of canopy cover, distance from karst features, and temperature. Like I said previously, they have hearts of ice, and some even look like they're entirely made of ice, so you'd imagine they prefer cold climates over said deserts, as like the skinwalkers prefer Arizona and New Mexico over Wendigos preferring Canada and like the northern areas of the United States, as they are much colder climates. Now, for this next topic, God forbid if you're a civilian and you have no affiliation with anyone who's ever taught you how to kill a monster or how to hunt certain monsters. If you ever encounter one, I'm going to tell you how to protect yourself, of course. Okay, so if you encounter a Wendigo, just stop, don't run. Their natural instinct is to chase you, much like a bear. They view you as prey at that point, and they will chase you down, and they will end up killing you, I promise you this. So do yourself a favor, stand tall, don't run. Pick up small children, again, don't run, that's the important bit, keyword, don't run. A Wendigo's instinct, again, is to chase. Do not approach the creature, especially if it is near a kill. What you want to do, much like with bears, is quietly get the fuck out of there. Alright, just nope out, don't try to do anything, don't act like a hero, just leave, alright? Now, never take your eyes off the creature, and never turn your back. Do not crouch down or try to hide. They will find you, they know where they hunt, it's where they live, they know it like the back of their, well, deformed, bony, clawed hand, alright? However, that's assuming the creature hasn't found you yet, which is very rare, because they have hearing 10 times greater than any man, and they will hear you, alright? Now, they might just be distracted eating someone or something, and don't really care too much about you. Use that to your advantage, and again, get out, alright? That's the important bit here. Now, however, if the creature does find you, which it most likely will, and it shows aggressive behavior, which it most likely will again, because it wants to eat you. You're a food source, regardless if you like it or not. You're a mammal. Humans are animals in general, and they will want to eat you, your food. But you're going to want to convince it you're not prey. But again, good luck with that, because it has no natural predators. If the creature attacks, fight back aggressively, and try to stay on your feet, you go to the ground, you're done. You're not getting back up, alright? I've seen people that the Foundation has trained themselves go to the ground and dive shortly after. They're nothing to fuck with, alright? However, a few have stood their ground, speaking as a civilian, not as in someone who's trained, and successfully fended off a Wendigo by fighting back. But it's better to die a warrior than a coward, because either way you're gonna die, so you might as well fight back anyway. at least, you know, the ones who survive will have a good story to tell about you being Billy Badass and getting your shit kicked by a Wendigo. Now, if you're a professional of these sorts, like I said, I took this information from the Foundation's archives. This is what little we know about Wendigos in general. There is a professional response protocol for all the new individuals in the divisions that we have in the Foundation. Your duties are as follows. Number 1, protect human life from this creature at all costs, alright? Number 2, if possible, render aid to the victim in the field and expel the Wendigo as soon as possible. Number 3, if aid cannot be rendered in the field, subdue the creature alive and transport it to a specialized facility for further study. As I said, we don't know much about these, and we would like to, as you might imagine. And number 4, in the event that it cannot be captured alive, terminate it before it can endanger any more human life, alright? And again, the Foundation has logged different methodologies as to how to kill a Wendigo. Again, I don't necessarily suggest it unless you're employed professionally. However, it is possible. There are a couple of different methodologies as in killing a Wendigo, and they read as follows. Number 1, decapitation. Number 2, fire. Number 3, silver bullets. Number 4, silver blade or stake, normally through the heart. Number 5, silver-plated blade. Number 6, incendiary ammunition. Now listen close. It's nearly impossible to escape a Wendigo. They run far faster than you, so don't bother running. You can't outrun it. However, you can outgun it, alright? Here's how you would kill it. The easiest method is said to be letting it on fire. However, they are not ones to have a simple end. Remember to be very thorough. Alright, that's the big one here. Be thorough. Remember to bring a silver blade, incendiary rounds, and an axe or heavy-bladed weapon. Make sure it's silver-plated. Again, silver kills most cryptids, if you didn't already know from previous knowledge before you start watching. However, what you want to do is to stun it with incendiary rounds, and then drive your silver blade or stake through its heart. Then put its heart in a silver box and shatter it to pieces. And then completely dismember the rest of its body. Next, you're going to salt and burn the body and scatter the ashes. Lock said silver box with a silver lock or something that, you know, something that's cryptid, can't break it. And bury it in a church cemetery. Again, holy ground. Most cryptids can't walk on it. There are some that can. If you don't do this, though, it will regenerate and hunt you down, and it'll come back with a vengeance. All right, it'll remember that you killed it. So you know, do yourself a favor. Be thorough. Kill him properly. All right. Now, much like the Skinwalker, Wendigos are said to have, in nature, a certain number of paranormal powers, as they were created through magic of some variety. In some lore, however, the powers that the Foundation's personally seen, skills such as perfect stealth. It is a near perfect hunter. It knows and uses every inch of its territory. Can control the weather through magic, like you know, if it's trying to confuse a human and make him have less sound recollection, it'll make it rain so that you're hearing rain and you can't hear footsteps as proper as you normally would be able to. It also has extremely, can't say extremely enough, enhanced strength and speed. I mean, these things can easily snap a human bone just by snapping its fingers. And they could... They run faster than Barry Allen, you know, the Flash. They're extremely speedy and extremely strong. And what makes it worse is that they can imitate human voices to lure its victims. They like luring their victims because it makes them have to use less energy. You know how an animal would rather get the drop on its prey over having to chase after it. Less energy expenditure. They're animalistic by nature. Now, I'm going to tell you how to hunt one. Again, I don't suggest it if you're coming from a civilian sector and you think you're going to be Billy Badass, you're going to go take out some Wendigos. Leave that to the professionals. However, this is more of a guide for the new trainees and the divisions of the Foundation. Do not hunt them, again, unless you're a professional. But if you are a professional, keep in mind how it hunts and prepare for a long tracking of them, because they don't really leave prints much, but you don't really have to follow prints necessarily if there's been activity, and you can follow blood trails. And normally even they don't care who you are, what kind of gear you got on. They'll try to lure you too, and you can find it through that. So it might even be a short hunt. But normally it's going to be a short hunt anyway, because you won't have to find it. It's going to find you. If you are in its territory, of course, just use the aforementioned weapons and bring a squad of hunters with you in case you encounter a den. You don't want to really go into a den alone. I mean, there's a few of our own personal hunters, the most elite of the elite, that we send after this, as we know he can handle multiple cryptids, but it takes a long time to develop that sort of skill, and it isn't worth losing your life if you're a hunter, because just take a squad. That's a big point. Take a squad, alright? Alright, so in this video, I described everything you need to know and everything the Foundation knows about Wendigos. Have a great day, especially if you're using this for training purposes. Study up, do your research, get your weapons together, and go after these evil sons of bitches, alright? Just have a great day and stay safe out there.